Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's your friendly neighborhood black guy, Charles Kurtz III, and I'm here at the Written Xperience, brought to you by CamdenOne and Politics and Poetry. We're here with our first guest, Aaron Cooper. Now, let's get started, Aaron. So, I just want to introduce you to our audience. Could you just tell us a little bit about your humble beginnings and just explain to everybody who Aaron Cooper is?
Ooh, that's tough. But I was born and raised in the city of Camden, lifelong Camden resident. I'm a firefighter. I'm an educator at Camden County College. I'm a DJ, poet, artist, and I'm gonna say graphic artist.
Okay. So you fighting fires, you throwing parties, you writing poems, you doing a lot.
Yes, sir.
So how has growing up in Camden shaped you?
I would say it shaped me the same way it did most people. It gave us a diverse perspective on life. And when I say diverse, it's a lot that go on in the city, good, bad, and indifferent. And at the same time, I try not to internalize the negative, but I am a product of my environment where the creative side of me come from just dealing with day-to-day life within our community.
Right, so what are some adversities you had to overcome while growing up in Camden?
The same stereotypical stuff that most people had to. Like when I was younger, my older brother, he got arrested, went to jail for drugs and other charges when I was in high school as an athlete. And basically, you know, fighting just like everybody else, fighting with my neighbors who actually was my friends, more like my brothers. And, you know, the discrepancies within our community, the drug dealing, the shooting. I've never been involved in none of that, but it has happened around me. And for the most part, you know, I would say being a victim of the victimless crimes, not basically people laying their hands on me, but, you know, seeing what's going on in our community and facing the same childhood traumas that most black men today face, but at a different time frame.
I see what you're saying. And so what role did art play in actually overcoming these adversities for you?
Art gave me an outlet to express myself, from the drawing and the writing. Basically, I'm pretty much a quiet, shy person. And so I express myself through the art, through the different mediums, as opposed to lashing out the way in which some of our young people do.
Right. See, because, you know, I'm a poet too, so
Okay.
you know that. So I definitely agree with you on that, because one thing about me is like there are a lot of things that, you know, my mind would just be so scatterbrained. I have to take the time to actually write it down and, you know, streamline my thoughts. And then a lot of times it rhymes, so it comes out as poetry and stuff like that. So I definitely understand that aspect of it. So I want to know, like, when were you exactly first exposed to art? So whether that be painting, poetry, and like, what was your first, I guess, art project or whatever the case may be?
Being honest, I didn't even realize the stuff that I was exposed to as a kid was considered art. Mm-hmm. Like, I was a big comic book fan. I was a big cartoon fan. And I didn't realize until now that, well, until I got older, that a lot of the graphics in the comic books, the graphics from the cartoons, that was technically considered art. So me liking Bugs Bunny, the Flintstones, and, you know, Fat Albert, and
right.
all of that, that was very creative. Like, mentioning Fat Albert, like, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, outside of Bill Cosby being a comedian and him doing Fat Albert, Bill Cosby actually put out albums. Like, not comedy albums, him singing.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So being exposed to that at an early age, I'm like, all right, basically, that's a man of many talents. Outside of all the stuff that he did, right. Very talented individual. So being exposed to that at a young age basically shaped me. And my mother sang in the church choir, my sister sang, my sister used to throw house parties, and my older brother, to this day, still got cassette collections that basically my brother and my sister used to get all the newest music. So as far as the shaping of the poetry, which is still considered art, right, that came, you know, from them. But as far as the graphics, my dad, old school, one of the earliest businesses my dad used to do, he used to make cakes, like before Buddy the Cake Boss and all that. My dad used to make cakes from scratch, and people call him, instead of doing what the bakeries do, they would call him. He'd make the cakes, design the cakes. So I was being exposed to art in that form because it's the same thing, graphics, design, but he was doing it 3D. before 3D printers.
Right. So I see. So it's like everything kind of streamlined into each other. So what was like your favorite cartoon, I guess, growing up? And like, how did those drawing styles like actually, did they influence your drawing at any point?
I would say yes and no. Like, I used to love Fat Albert. I love He-Man. I love G.I. Joe. And my art style, I must, what's the dude name? I can't think of his name right now, but through J.J. Evans, the main painter from Good Times.
Okay.
Ernie Barnes is his name. Ernie Barnes was the main artist. And basically the graphic style from that and Fat Albert was kind of similar. And pretty much that's the style of art that I love to this day. And I try to copy it, but my thing is I'm notorious for copying multiple styles. So
right. So kind of
yes,
come together. But that's good though, because it's like you put your own twist on it. And that's what art is. Because essentially all of our art is just, is reimagined of something else.
Exactly.
It's a reimagining. So how can art enhance the experience of individuals and by extension the community?
Going backwards to what I said earlier about expression. One thing, like when people talk about art, they try to pigeonhole it into the graphic arts, but the graphic arts isn't the only form of art. There's dancing, there's music. Basically, people talk about athletes as being artists.
That's poetry.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, they say poetry, that's spoken art. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, basically, the frame for art is endless. And as long as people in general have an outlet to express themselves and be creative in telling their stories and addressing what's going on, it could definitely help the community. And it don't have to be rhyming. It don't have to all make sense to somebody else. Like, I laugh because there's a painting where it's like blue spots or red spots or something sold for like millions of dollars. We look at it and be like, yo, that's trash. But somebody found value in it.
Right.
That's what art is. Everybody got a different take and different view on things.
That is true. That is true. It definitely touches. So, all right. Do you believe artists have an obligation to enhance the voice of their community or group?
That's a tough one because a lot of people look at entertainers, aka $1 million artists, as a representation of the community, but 9 times out of 10, those individuals are representing themselves. And when it comes to art, that's what art is, an expression of self. Mm-hmm. People find values in what people, express. Like, yeah, I can relate to that. So that's where the value's at. And that don't mean I have to represent your cause, your voice, or whatever. I'm representing me with what I do. So, like I said, that's a tough one.
Right. So, do you think that, like, in a city like Camden, do you think, what do I have? Do you think that we can use art to actually combat these high levels of poverty and crime?
Definitely.
Somebody was saying if you pay the artist, they'll stop robbing people.
The sad part is I would probably say yes, because that's what happened with hip hop music. Like, that's what happened with blues and jazz and different outlets like that. I'm laughing because just to think about it. Barry White, he was a car. He used to jack people for cars. James Brown, he had a checkered past. Malcolm X had a checkered past. But they all found different mediums and forms of expression, which art is, and found value in that. So basically, if they're paying artists in the city to do different things, giving them different outlets to express themselves, it may potentially change a person's life.
Right.
Good.
No, you keep going. You want to drink some water?
I'm good for now.
Go ahead. All right. So what are some of the greatest challenges faced by the everyday Camden resident?
I would say the neighborhood influences. I hate to do this, but I live in one of the neighborhoods that has yet to be touched by the transitions that's happening within the city. And I live in the Whitman Park section of the city. There are streets that it's like the land that time forgot. Like, if you go back to the 1960s and 70s and look how stuff used to look when places were burnt out, it's still like that in my community. So basically, coming into that section of the city, it's like, yo, what they gonna do with this? You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
They haven't done anything.
Some of our blocks look like the Avengers been fighting on them or something
Exactly.
like that. like Hawk is smashing the ground.
Exactly. So basically, it's tough. I lost track of the question.
Nah, you fine. I was saying, like, you know, what challenges do we face? And I understand, because when I was writing that question, I'm like, this could go very long, you know, just coming from the city and, you know, someone who's very much involved in the city, you've been able to see a lot of different aspects, like you said, good, bad, ugly, and different and stuff like that.
Can chime back in?
Yeah, of course.
Outside of the community, you got the perspective of the community. Like, it's a lot of people that when they hear individuals are from Camden, still to this day, they question, yo, how's it like to live over there? Or basically look at people, they try to look down on people that come from Camden. Like, a lot of people don't even realize when I'm talking to them, I'm from Camden. When they talk about Camden, they like, hold up, wait, you from Camden? Yeah, I'm from Camden.
Right.
Born and raised. They like, nah, you moved there. No, I'm from Camden. Just because I don't represent the city the way in which, I don't represent the negative side of the city. There's a lot of positive, there's a lot of in-between in the city. I would say I dance between the in-between and the positive. I say that because I'm human, you know what I mean? Right. So being a black male within the city of Camden, yes, I do get frustrated by the everyday struggles of life, but I also get frustrated by the everyday struggles of the things I see in the community. Cause it's like, growing up, people was on the corner. 40 years later, the same people on the corner. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
that's crazy.
Come on now, like, do something with your life.
They got the dog that they done raised for 40 years,
Exactly.
the puppy. So now you got the grand puppies out there.
But I can't tell nobody what to do with their life. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man.
You want better.
Yes.
So how do we cultivate the talent in the city?
That is a great question. One of the things that I truly believe.
I know. Thank you. I know. Thank you.
One of the things I truly believe within our community, there's not enough emphasis on the arts, especially within our young people. There's not a lot of conversations that's being had with our young people in mind. The adults are dictating the pace, dominating the conversation, and when they're dominating the conversation, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it this way because this is what I think. But you gotta get the young people or the people within our age, as Michael Baisden call us, the young old heads, you got to give us an opportunity to have input on the conversation. And if we work together, it ain't no dictatorship. It ain't no, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. Nah. Everybody come to the table with what you bring to the table, and let's figure out to make it work. It's like a puzzle.
Right.
All the puzzle pieces fit together. Our people fit together, but that's you bring your strength to the table, me bringing my strength to the table, and we all figuring out how to make it work. But for some reason, that hasn't been the model within our city.
I think coming together and, if I could chime in, coming together and just implementing, you know, what we value as artists and what we would like to see as artists, I think that's something that can really move us forward. Because a lot of times, people in Camden, artists in Camden don't have the resources, and a lot of them are just like shooting in the dark, if that may make sense. Whereas though you go to different places, like I spent my time in North Jersey where I went to college, and for the most part, Newark has an entire like culture of arts, where it's like, it makes me jealous every time I even think about it. Like, they have a local arts award where they're highlighting their local talent, where they're just, you know, there's networks of visual artists, there's networks of poets, there's networks of rappers and things like that. So really seeing that at work, I know that's something that we can actually bring to the city.
But the thing between Newark, DC, Chicago, it's not just the artists, it's individuals that appreciate the art. Like, everybody bringing their strength to the table. Like, I talked to somebody, like, I also went to college in North Jersey. I went to William Patterson.
Okay.
But talking to one of my friends from North Jersey, she does finances. She said, yo, I'm not an artist, but what I could do is help you figure out your pricing scale, help you figure out different mediums to try to drive the engine, which is me, to get to a different level. So basically, that's what's going on in Newark. They got funders backing the artists, and basically everybody come to the table, hold a conversation. We definitely could do that here with all the billion-dollar companies, with the mom and pop shops, with all the individuals. brand exposure. Like basically, I could sponsor. Like, let's say I'm a business owner. Right. I'm sorry for hitting the mic.
Nah, you good.
Let's say I'm a business owner. I work at, let's say, I'm a shameless plug, G&A Entertainment.
Okay.
I'm not an art entertainment. You an artist. G&A Entertainment say, Mr. Custis, what would you like to do? All right, you Curtis. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Curtis. What would you like to do? And you say, all right, I'm a poet. All right, so we're gonna put X amount of dollars to support your vision, your dream. Basically, that's me helping you fund it, but at the same time, we partners now.
Right.
Wu-Tang American Dream, Wu-Tang Clan American Dream. I just watched that the other day. And in that, basically, it was like 10, 12 different individuals, all with different ideologies. One person was the spearhead, but everybody else put their ideas on the table. And you got one person, literally, not a rapper. Another person, not a rapper. One dealt with the contracts, one dealt with the money. One was basically the voice piece. That's 3 different people out of the 12 individuals, but everybody eating. Why we can't do that within the art community?
Right, right. See, I like that idea, see? All right, so what are...
I'm sorry.
Sorry, you're fine, it's me. Who are some poets whom you would want to work with whom you probably haven't already?
Oh, that's tough. Like, my thing is, I'm a huge fan. Like, people don't look at rappers too much as poets, but at the same time, that's what they are. Like, one of my favorite rappers in general, Tupac.
I don't know. I really was about to say you cannot do a song with Biggie.
I'm not going to say I want to do a song with Tupac. I would say basically, if given a chance, I would work with J. Cole. And basically, the reason why I say J. Cole, if you listen to his lyrics, strip the music away, listen to what he's saying, and then it just puts you in a different mind frame. Like, Rhapsody, she another dope one. Like, basically, she's talking over the beat. That's the same thing Tupac used to do. And my thing is, I'm gonna give you a shameless plug. I'm still waiting to work with you, but you know.
Oh, here you go.
we gonna make that happen.
We have a versus battle happening, and after this interview, we gonna have a conversation about that because then I gotta put my foot down.
That's all right.
On a lot of people and a lot of poets, so y'all watch out. But anyways,
it's all right. We sharing energy. Basically, I'm gonna do for your career what Jay-Z's Takeover did for some other people's career. All right. With the verses.
I'm not familiar with that, but I do know Nas's Ether though. So
exactly. Without Takeover, Ether would have never happened.
How have you managed to remain active in the community while balancing your professional life as a firefighter?
Basically, a lot of people don't recognize and realize being a firefighter is a social service within our community. So we're supposed to be active. Well, not supposed to be. We are actively engaged in our community. Outside of just the day-to-day clock in, clock out firefighter, I also do different programs within the city, do different community service events. I show up to everything that people put on the table and say, hey, we're doing whatever. I try to show up and represent the firefighters, show up and represent myself, show up and represent my community, because the thing is, growing up, we didn't see a lot of firefighters or individuals that look like us that took the civil service test, which is the test you got to take to be a firefighter.
Okay.
But now everybody's saying, yeah, I know a firefighter, but the fact that you know them, you don't really see them in the community. My thing is trying to get engaged in the community so that when I do decide to retire, the young men and women that actually look like us that say they want to be a firefighter, I can represent them in the community.
Right.
And outside of that, was a political candidate. I ran for school board several times over, basically, and just trying to stay engaged in everything within the community.
Right. So I was going to ask, like, so how has that, being a firefighter, actually influenced your writing?
Being a firefighter has definitely helped influence my writing because it gave me a different perspective and angle. Like being Aaron Cooper, the resident, walking around seeing things I could only see certain things. Being a firefighter, it opens the doors to so many different avenues where I get to see parts of our city from a different angle.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, I didn't know that existed. You know what I mean? So definitely it's given me a broader perspective on our community.
And you did talk about being running for school board for Camden City School Board. So as an artist, how important is the arts in school?
The arts is very important in schools. The reason why I say it's important in schools is because if you look at what's going on now, everybody's pushing basketball, football, and sports. It's like, yeah, that's one medium of expression for our young people. But they're not pushing the music. They're not pushing the poetry. They're not pushing the singing, the dance, unless you go to creative arts. And even there, our young people are struggling because it's like every avenue of expression that our young people need is not there.
Right.
So basically the arts is definitely important. And when we was growing up, you had options. Now it seems like they trying to take the options away and force feed you certain things. It's like, nah, we had a more, I'm gonna say, let's talk about it. Our community was a little bit more affluent. Our community was a little bit more diverse than it is now because you had different avenues, different options. Now they taking the options away, so you limited. So you gonna get the rebellion, you gonna get the fights, you gonna get the craziness from our young people because that's them releasing the pent up frustration and angles that being an artist, poet, draw, write, whatever. We had art club. I don't even know if the city still has any art clubs.
Yeah, I can't say that because I mean, just if I can say anything about my experience growing up, as far as poetry or anything, I was never exposed to it through any like I guess schools or anything like that. We might have did one poetry assignment like elementary school, but outside of that, it was no poetry, no nothing. It was like you said, sports, and I can't shoot a free throw. I've tried, but God just blessed me with being able to write. So, what are some community events that you've had the opportunity to curate?
Whew, all right, that's tough.
Let's take some time because I know it's been long.
Nah, only reason I say that is because like I'm gonna start at the back end of what I used to do and then move forward. I used to run a youth development program organization under Dr. Stella Horton at Camden Center for Youth Development.
Okay.
And I ran the Camden City Youth Services Commission Youth Leadership Program. With that, we used to hold youth job fairs. We used to hold youth resource fairs. We did community service events. We did safe night out events. We did park cleanups. We did community cleanups. We did, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't. We did a whole lot of stuff, but it was all basically youth driven. When I say youth driven, the young people came up with their ideas. Like basically with whole conversation, we did youth service training, like to the point where young people could identify a problem, they identify a solution, and then put action steps together. We used to do that all the time, and we used to meet on Friday nights and basically meet Friday night, plot plan, whatever we was gonna do, and monthly just knock stuff out. And basically that's missing from the city right now. And I'm not saying we the only ones that was doing it, but it was other people doing it too. But it seemed like everybody stopped and it went from youth focused to adult focused. And a lot of the stuff that we did is needed to the point where what we did, we gave young people the voice. I say we, but it was technically me in the room for the 30 young people. But I say we because without the young people being there, without the young people buying into what I was doing, it would have never happened. Right. So basically, one thing they don't talk about in our community is scholarships for community service. Villanova give out 2 scholarships, a full ride and a partial ride for community service. You only had to have 120 some hours of community service. The young people that was with me every year, they was ranging anywhere from 600 to 900 hours of community service.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. So it's like basically the big push was community service, community service, community service. If you look at what's going on in our community now, you don't really see the young people doing the community service, doing the activities and events. Mm-hmm. You see adults. Yeah. It's like, yo, nah, get the young people out there. Like, people laugh because every time they see me doing something, my photographer, my videographer, the person standing next to me, if I'm selling art, my son sitting right there next to me. My thing is, the push and the drive is there, the motivation is there, and it's not just from him, it's the whole community. But the problem is, for some reason, people keep saying, oh, the young people ain't got nothing to add. But we're not dealing with young people, we're dealing with young adults. Right. So you can talk to them the same way you talk to your people, just don't curse.
And I think they would have more to add if we provide for them the same resources. Because a lot of times, we don't come into a lot of these resources. When you come from impoverished areas, you don't come into a lot of resources until you get older, you know, and then like that whole time are being made aware of certain resources. And then, you know, growing up, you're like, dang, I really want to do this. I wish it was a program, and it really might be a program. So it's about connecting them to those resources and making them available for them. So what are your, I think that was asking, okay, what are your hopes for the next generation of creatives that the city produces?
My hopes is that we could actually form partnerships and alliances, not just amongst the artists, because definitely partnership and alliances amongst the artists is a great thing, but we also need to do it within the business community, because the artists need funding, the artists need support, the artists need pushes and showcases. Like, one of the things I used to say when I was younger, Camden is a wasteland, because there's so many talented people within our city that don't never get a chance to do nothing because they fall victim to what's going on in our community. I pray that the dynamics change and the wasteland become flourishing. Like you said, North. Like, basically all you gotta do is ride by, what's that, the Prudential Center in North? That whole strip leading up to there, that's like a whole artist community. It's like, wow, this is like a museum outside. Camden got plenty of space to do that.
Even their Walla Burger on Halsey Street.
Exactly.
They host mad open mics and events still to this day.
Yep.
Okay, so as accomplished as you are, what are some goals that you've yet to achieve?
I ain't rich yet. Definitely have not become a millionaire, but when that happens, you know, I'm definitely gonna get back. But
it's fine. Don't beat yourself too hard over it. I ain't get there yet either.
All right. Nah. You said goals. I would
Yeah.
say
So like, you know, in the poetry world.
I have not truly found my voice yet. Like, even though I write like every day and I got stuff from now all the way back to when I was younger, I still haven't found that one thing that is like defining me outside of, yeah, I could talk about the city all day. I could talk about past relationships all day, but it's like, yeah, to be able to transition. Like, I say, using Tupac. Granted, he's always talked about being a thug, this, that, whatever, but thug was an acronym. The hurt you give.
Okay, so I was ready. I was ready. My eyes got big and everything. Like, what?
The acronym for Tupac, for his thug, was the hurt you give affects the. I can't remember it.
Damn.
But it was a movie. The hurt you give.
Right.
Basically, it got something to do with affecting the young. Thug life was the whole acronym. But either way, that was his voice. And J. Cole, his voice. His voice is his voice. My thing is, I'm still not there yet. And like, I'm really just getting back into the poetry. I did it, stopped, had my son. My son became my world, and then he's a teenager now, so it's like, all right, let's start it back up. So now I'm back on the ground running, and I'm going hard, but it's like, something missing. I just don't know what it is yet.
I don't know, baby.
Hey, don't get cocky. It's all good. You still gonna catch that beat.
You said it, not I.
You gonna catch that beat there.
Something missing. Right. We gonna help you find it, Coop.
Definitely.
You don't have any ideas for any books or anything like that you would like to publish?
Definitely. I actually have started publishing my book. It should have been out, but I had to take a quick break from that.
COVID.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully within 2023, I had like 3-4 books out. The reason why I say 3-4, because I got poetry from 99 up to now. So I got a lot.
Okay. And where can we find you on social media to be able to support you?
Fool. All right, I got.
Now this is a shameless plug.
I got to laugh because I got multiple social media.
Tell them all. This is the time.
You got.
And also, I'm sorry, but we're actually gonna have them on screen too. So don't. If you feel like I missed something, we'll make sure we put them on screen.
It's all good on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. What's that?
MySpace.
MySpace, TikTok. My MySpace is still up. But on TikTok, you got Mr. Coop, MYSTERCOOP, and Madface Wonder, MADFACEWONDER. And for my art, it's Rens Pics, RENS_PICS. And that's on all of them.
Okay, perfect. So before we skedaddle, I actually want to just, if we can be able to show these pictures to the camera and stuff like that, because this man came here with a whole portfolio and everything like that.
Hey, that's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, okay, so is the camera right here? So it's right here, so you can actually see. Yep, so he actually drew me on the first page, writing and stuff. That's perfect.
We got something dealing with COVID right here.
Oh, okay, that's dope. That picture looks very conspiracy theorist. Yeah.
Hey, this was a joint where I was playing around with Camden and Philly.
I like that. I like that. It give me that, you know, the screaming man?
Yeah.
That's what I see in that.
This joint, time over money.
I definitely agree.
All right. This one was literally just me playing around.
Okay.
And I'm doing like two more. All right, you got the king.
So he drew more pics of me right here.
And the astronaut, my bad.
I like that astronaut, I dig him.
Thank you. Hey, you're welcome to purchase art anytime you want. Nah, you can have it if you want.
All right, I got you.
And then I did, you got two females, one with the sun above her head, and then one that's like graffiti.
The one with the sun above her head looking like, yo, go bring me back the moon. Like, what you talking about? Go bring me back the moon.
All right, and basically, I'm gonna end it with this one. Old school, street football.
Oh, that's nice. That one look like Gary right there. The one getting knocked over.
But like I said, I copy many different styles of art. Like for each, I'm gonna say month. Like Black History Month, I copy different artist styles. Women's History Month, different women artist styles, just to showcase and promote the different artists. For Hispanic Heritage Month, did that as well. Got a lot of art dealing with the different topics, different seasons. I know it's National Poetry Month, so I'm not doing no poetry art, but waiting for you.
He's scared. He don't want to say he doing no poetry during National Poetry Month.
I'm waiting on you.
We have a versus coming up. It'll be happening in the next couple of weeks. I don't know. We might just have to do like 5 rounds or something like that. Something quick, something light. Let them live.
I don't think you're gonna make it past the second round.
But that's all the time that we have today, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Written Experience, brought to you by CamdenOne. Again, I'm your friendly neighborhood black guy, Charles Curtis III. We'll see you again someday. We're out.